Ms. Metters?
Phil, just one sec.
Mr.
Two things. I still believe that the Delta Water Agency should have a member there. That. Second of all, it's no secret that the 5 Delta counties did everything they could to change the little yellow book before it got printed. And but after it was printed, we were back in Washington and meeting with Senator Dianne Feinstein, and one of my colleagues stupidly said something to the effect of, we don't like, the Delta Reform Act, and she blasted him out of the room with, "Get over it. It's the law. Live with it," which the 5 Delta counties have done. And I would think that the water agencies basically wish to have a voice. No matter what comes out of this whole thing, they would like to have a voice. That's what I have to say.
Ms. Metters.
Hello. Well, as a layperson and an advocate in the Delta, and reading yet another implementation committee, what have you, it is top down. It will issue edicts. We are the ones that have to live with what all of you people vote on, look at, read, pass, and it might be the law, but I have something back to say to that. Our direct elected representation was willfully and deliberately, and I am going to say with malice, kept out of the room of the negotiations before this legislation was ever passed. And when we're allowed to have one person come back in, it was Assemblyman Barry Hill. That was it. This is not representative law. This is edict that's been passed over our heads, pulling the rug out from underneath us, and yet we are the ones that have to live with the results of this and the long-term results. And we're supposed to embrace uncertainty. Our livelihoods and have been going on not just since 2006 when this began, but in the 80s, right after the first peripheral canal was voted down. The threats that were made to landowners, especially in the direct line of where the tunnels, call it whatever you want, but when you want to take the water further and further north in the fresh water away from, so it doesn't flow through and do the things that it needs to do, and these decisions are being made without the local people. We have one representative sitting right here. You want to talk about one county representative? We have 5 counties in the legal delta, 5 of them, of which Sacramento County is the one that has the most land in the area that is going to be dramatically adverse and permanently destructed and impacted. And yet we have nothing. We have nothing anywhere that we can come and talk. And then when we do, we get belittled. And it happens in different places, with the exception of the Science Board, which I will say is a very, very nice one to come and work with, that they actually do listen to the people. It's just more of the same. And it's very, very discouraging after 5 years of sitting here and in and out and trying to be constructive and participating in stuff that will come to pass. But stop crapping on us. You can't get anywhere without the locals. And quite frankly, you have more concerted scientific evidence, empirical evidence that goes back 150 years, not just 40, 150. And that's the science that really matters, because quite frankly, it's pumping the water out of this system that's created the problem that we're facing today. And unless we figure it out, get those flows established at 3.8 million acre feet, which we know this system can adequately handle no matter what the water year is, from wet to drought. That's what we have, and we are overpumping and oversubscribing and fulfilling contracts that we're not even honoring or enforcing terms of the contract. And I'm talking about the federal contract that Westland's Water District has. And that contract specifically states that they only get water in excess years, period. We don't honor that one. We're dealing with water quality issues with the North Delta Water Agency contract, and we are not honoring the area of origin protections that are put into our state constitution. If we do these 3 things, we might be able to eliminate a whole lot of this, and we have wasted millions and going on billions of dollars in this state that can certainly be put somewhere else than to consultants that can do nothing better than cut and paste. Cut and paste. And that's all these documents are at a high level, is nothing more than going back and cutting and pasting and bringing in new interns and new people that we lose institutional knowledge, and it's showing. And we're paying a big, big price for that. And we will continue generationally to continue to pay that big price, if we do not honor and respect what is our genuine history, and we go about settling our water supply issues without gaming the system, without ramrodding a non-compete federal contract down our throats, which is exactly what the twin tunnels are, if we want to solve our problems, then you know what? Some of this just needs to be thrown out into the dump and start over. But dang it, start over the right way and do it correctly so we can solve this problem, so we don't have to spend the rest of our lives and the next 2 or 3 generations coming back to revisit something that we couldn't get right the first time. And as a private citizen in this, please, I don't know what else to say other than that, but now that the real game has started, we're going to have a whole lot of games between now and April, so it should get pretty interesting.
Thank you, Ms. Metters.